So when the system crashes, we also have to rely on these redo logs. So after system crashes, we will run a recovery manager, this program. And in the program, we have two steps. The first step is to decide for each transaction and mark it as either completed or not. If we see the start T, commit T, or start T and abort T, we can mark them as completed. If we only see the start T and nothing following that, then we can mark it as incomplete. And the general idea for this redo login is to read the logs from the beginning. Before we mentioned that for the undo, we read the log from bottom up, right? However, for the redo, we read them from the top down for the redo logs. We read the redo log from the top, from the beginning, redo all the updates of its committed transactions. You follow me, right? For this committed transaction, we know we have to redo the actions. Okay, so this is a general rule or high-level rule. We will do the redo for the crash recovery. Let me provide with an example. So let's assume if we run a system and the system crashes, and we plan to do a redo of the login state, and we read the log from the top down, from the beginning to the bottom. So we read first the entry that start T1, right? And we have T1, X1, V1. However, in the following entries, we never see commit T1, right, or abort T1. We know this one is incompleted, and we can ignore it. Then we have start T2, and we have T2, X2, V2. However, in the following entries, we have one entry, commit T2, right? We know this T2 will be committed. Therefore, we have to redo this action, T2, X2, V2, right, to recover the new value, this X2, right? You can follow me, right? And then we can start T3. And after it, we have never seen the T3, right? Abort or committed T3. And we can ignore it. And with T1, X1, V3, we also ignore it. And following, we also ignore it. We only redo all the committed transactions. Okay, so this is about the redo for the crash recovery. In this way, we can also recover the system to a consistent state as well. Of course, for the redo login, we also add some checkpoints. We don't necessarily need to read the logs from the very beginning. We just read from the last checkpoint and to the bottom instead, and redo all the committed transactions. It will be also very safe, and we can recover the system to the state rather before the crash recovery happens. So this is another action we can take or handle for handling the crash recovery in the database system. Okay, you can do a comparison between this undo and redo, right? And we have very similar login records. We also have some differences for some entry like TXV, right? As well as the undo login rules and the crash recovery behaviors. So for the undo login, this output must be done only. We have this only commit, this rule, right? If this commit T is seen, then this T definitely has returned all its data to the disk already. And we don't need to do the undo for them, right? However, for the redo login, this output must be done late. So if a commit T is not seen yet, the T definitely has not returned any of the data to the disk yet, right? Because we write this commit very early. If we didn't see it, it means it has not returned any data to disk, right? And we can just ignore them, and we just only do the redo for the committed transaction instead. And you can compare this undo and redo carefully, and we may have some questions in both homework and write exams for the crash recovery with both undo and redo for you. Okay, so this is the end of this crash recovery. And this is very important as well for the database system, especially during the future of your career. And you may have some time to handle the database system and the system crashes, and you may have to handle how to recover the system to a consistent state before it crashes. Then you can decide either to use the undo or redo for your crash recovery. They both are very helpful and useful for your system. Okay, so that's it for this section, and thanks again for your attention.